Hi, welcome back to Post TV Live from NAB 2012. And we're here with Evan Schechtman, who, at Radical Media, founder of Outpost Digital.
That's right.
And you're in New York.
Yes. Oh, New York, LA, Sydney,
Oh.
Shanghai, and Berlin.
You're taking over the world.
That's right. Slowly.
Slowly taking over the world. So I wanted to talk to you a bit about when I first met you way back.
Yeah.
You had founded your company based around Final Cut Pro 7. You were one of the early adopters of
Yes.
Final Cut Pro 7.
Yes, yes.
And you built your business around it.
Absolutely. There was a generation gap, I think, in post-production at that time, right? So you had big, huge professional systems, mostly Avid, and a lot of systems that we used to see here every year that don't exist anymore. Then there was the early version of Premiere, which made kung fu movies, because we couldn't keep sync more than a few minutes. And then Final Cut emerged, right, from the ashes of a Macromedia product. And Apple was going out of business, and computers looked like Jell-O molds, and DV was new. And there really was that disruption. I think we capitalized on it in a way. And it was a generation gap. You know, we saw that as the future, and then we rode it, and the wave continued to rise, and I think it has crested last year and crashed, and here we are.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So when Final Cut 10 was introduced, did you get your hands on it a little bit early? Were
Yes,
you one of
yes, yeah, we did.
Now, and why don't you also talk about what kind of work you do?
Okay, so Radical Media is classified as a transmedia company, and I know people think that that's buzz, but if we look at our work, it is storytelling on a large number of platforms, and not because the platforms are cool, but because that's where eyeballs are. So whether it be documentary storytelling on the iPad, which we call an appumentary, for the 25th anniversary of Sting, or it is a traditional documentary like Under African Skies, the 25th anniversary. A lot of anniversaries this year of Paul Simon's Graceland. So long-form documentary storytelling, commercials, music video, digital destinations, exhibits. All of this is storytelling in some way, and Radical Media is right there in the center.
Okay, so go back to June of last year.
Yeah,
So Final
yeah.
Cut 10 comes out, but you've already had a look at it.
Yes.
So, and then everything sort of blew up.
Yes. So we looked at it, and some of it was unbelievably exciting because in one aspect, I would say, I don't remember the last time that I sat down on a piece of software in the same machine and saw it do magic. And by magic, I mean the speed at which it moved, the native editing, and a lot of the sophisticated ideas that we saw being rolled out. However, Apple holds their secrets very, 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 very close to the vest. And we figured, all right, well, this is just like a sneak peek of the engine and the architecture, and we got a few more months to work on it, and they'll fill it in. And then it was released. Uh-oh. You know.
But you saw enough potential in it to know where it was going to go.
We still do. We still do. You know, I don't need to defend Apple. They have more money than most governments, right? They don't need me to defend them. However, as a person who uses their products and who lives in technology, Apple is a company that clearly plays chess, not checkers. They are thinking 3 steps ahead. And why put a 2K screen in an iPad? There are more reasons than the spec sheet for doing so. And so the metadata-centric approach from point of acquisition all the way through to the point of output is a very powerful idea. So the end of life of Final Cut Server, which was great at some things and not so great at others. You see it beginning to be integrated into the program. But the idea that your media is now smarter with the use of roles as metadata, as well as the idea of keyword collections, the skimming, there's a lot in it that we believe in. They are a company that does not ask permission of the user base to change the idea and to change something that maybe was done a certain way for, let's be real, what, 20 plus years? Yeah. I can't believe it is that long. I keep saying 10 years. It's been more than 20 years of just nonlinear editing and democratization of digital video. So a lot of the ideas there and paradigms, I'm a true believer in. And now we got to get down to a critical mass of people who are using it to get to the nuanced features that may have been cut that need to be put back. However, the pro video market is an intense, outspoken, and relatively loyal user base, and it's like Final Cut was the really mean boyfriend to this whole market who are really quite peeved at the insensitivity of the messaging, of the communication. Apple does not put out a roadmap. They don't do that. Other companies do a roadmap. Apple doesn't. And so it was a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, as good as it is. And then it was, oh, Apple's not interested in Pro Video long term, as we got Final Cut 5, 6, and 7. And then they come out with this in the way that they did, and everyone's like, see? Even though all those people saying that were the benefactor of its price performance breaking feature set for as long as we did. We're a fickle group of people as Pro Video users.
But you were an early adopter to 7, and you saw the future of 10 as well, and you've embraced it within your post facility.
Yeah, we've done three real client-driven projects on 10 thus far. A commercial, a documentary, or documentary-esque type piece, but a beauty piece nonetheless with varied formats, and then some other smaller kind of promo type work. So we wanted to try each one of the categories. I'm very lucky that, or maybe we were lucky. The people who've come across our path that we've hired, they were open-minded. They were very open-minded, and our engineering staff is open-minded. The assistants would say, and I'm not supposed to say this out loud because it's going to change the perception of some people internally who put time demands on us. We never moved through that much footage as fast as we did, and we never superimposed greater value on footage as fast as we did with keyword collections. So that was just a raving success, absolutely. And it actually really gave me a warm feeling that this is where it's going, we can get behind it. In the editing flow of things, learning has to happen. So the intuition you have of the way that NLEs that appear like NLEs should work is actually really not the case. If you continue to work the way that you did in 7 and 10, you will not have a good time of it. You will think it's a terrible product. There are very new paradigms there for storytelling. The idea of track lists is, it dumbfounds people. But when you actually crack the manual, which is very thin actually, and read about what their intention was and embrace it, you can see that they have smart people working there who make really beautiful decisions. And so, surprisingly, it wasn't the massive facilities that changed, that stopped us in our tracks. It was the nuanced features of how we hold in and outs and what is the true nuanced editing workflow, not the macro workflow, the micro workflow. And so we gave them our feedback, and looks like they're doing releases every 3 months, which to me really does say we are interested in the pro video market. And I'm sorry, Randy, I'll let you talk again in about 10 minutes.
No, that's okay. Go on.
I think you've had it.
Go on.
But when you actually, so the macro things you have to learn, the micro things, we gave them feedback. The every 3 month release, it is a way of showing the pro video market that they are dedicated. But they don't publish a roadmap. So if you look back at the way they behave, we went from OS 9 to OS 10, which was painful. OS 10 was so powerful that you can load OS 9 inside of it, but you couldn't burn a DVD or play one for the first year of its release. OS 9 played DVDs, OS 10 did not in year one. iOS, you're not going to argue that it was a revolution in the mobile phone industry. Cut, copy, and paste took 2 years and 18 days. So you can only look backwards at the way that they're a platform company. You get the mechanics of the platform right, and then you slowly move back to building in the features. Some would argue that where we are today should have been the way that it was released, and it probably would have calmed a larger part of the community. And they'll get there, and I really do think in true Apple style, in 24 months, you'll see manufacturers starting to rip off the things that do work about Final Cut 10.
So
like always.
If you had one thing to say to people out there that haven't really given it a chance, what would that be?
Well, one, I'd say that the more you know, the more powerful you are in our industry. And people today entering the business who are in our business have an unprecedented level of access to software that didn't exist 5 years ago. Every version of the pro software we have here at the show is available for free. Everything. Smoke in June, the Adobe Suite with a valid email address, Final Cut Pro 10 through the Mac App Store, Avid, Pro Tools, Resolve, free, full featured for limited time. And email addresses are so hard to get. So I think that if you are not diving in and learning enough about each platform, and you've picked sides, I mean, this show for me, it's like I was saying to you before, it's like 10 years of going down a road that now ends in a cliff. And you're looking, and it's relatively, it's to me, it's actually a tiny bit bleak this year, except for what Autodesk is doing, in that 10 years of development and user feedback, and this is where we've come to, where Avid is selling flagship products for $1,000, and an OEM product that was premiered that I cut my teeth on, is a lot of people's best option because it looks like a duck and it kind of quacks like a duck, but it doesn't really swim like one for me personally.
No, you mentioned Smoke.
Yeah.
So you guys are a Smoke facility as well, correct?
We started using Smoke 2012 this year.
Okay.
Because of what was happening in the NLE world, I thought it was time for us to be able to raise our game a little bit. And we found that After Effects and the typical Adobe pipeline was encumbered by its own interface. How far can suites expand before we have suite fatigue, so to speak? You cannot be a master. Those are massive applications. Individually, they're very powerful. Together, they're even more powerful, but no mere mortal can master all of it. So we said, let's actually take a look at what I call the super app. Let me just spit on you because I'm not excited, Randy.
That's okay.
I'm just foaming.
It's day 3. I'm going with it.
We're all a little bit soggy.
Yeah.
So I call it the super app story. The fact that we can put all of our thought equity in one place, master a tool set that really has a 20-year legacy of being battle tested and polished by the upper echelons of the visual effects industry. So we said, even at 15 grand, which was a big investment, it's an uphill battle in training in Smoke 2012, but we were going to make the investment. That when we're compositing, it's wonderful, and when we want to bounce the color, the app changes around you. I've really gotten tired of round tripping and media management and all the different manufacturers being out of lockstep with each other, and wasn't the best feeling in the world. So I crossed paths with them while I was talking about Final Cut 10. We got to speaking with each other, and I did get a sneak peek of Smoke 2013 and was actually genuinely giddy. Because I sat down at Smoke 2012 and found myself yelling out loud, I'm smart, damn it. I can't get media into it. Smoke 2013, they said, give it a shot. I sat down, I drag and dropped into Smoke, which was a no-no in the previous version. It has a menu bar. First place you go is file import. It does that. ProRes has been integrated into the workflow. It looks like a timeline. It acts like a timeline. And more importantly than anything else, when we're applying soft effects, literally by dragging and dropping onto the timeline the way that we've been trained, the way our intuition says it should work, we now have the ability to highlight footage, or even one clip, and say connect effects, and end up in node-based workflow. So the question that I've really been asking for 5 years is, what is beyond track-based workflow? It is node-based workflow, but it was daunting to try to learn it. It's so grossly different. Of course, Apple had the opportunity to do this with Shake. And so I prayed for a long time, Final Cut Pro and Shake would make sweet, sweet love and make a brand new program, and Apple just continued to cannibalize Shake for whatever their reason was. In my opinion, Smoke 2013 is the marriage of NLE core features and a path to node-based workflow, and it's brilliant. They're smart people, and more importantly, they asked people what they wanted, did some research, and then did that.
Now, I think their goal is for people to use it as an offline and a finishing tool.
I think so.
What is missing now that would keep you from using it as a creative offline
I think it is.
editor?
I think it is the mentality of media management of enormous projects, and that was kind of even the tough thing with Final Cut 10, is that everyone in our facility had their own methodology for how they made bins and how they named and how they subclipped and nested. And I used to say to people, Final Cut 7 was like the butt print in the couch where you fit perfectly at home.
Yeah.
And Final Cut 10 is a brand new couch. And he's like, I'm not comfortable in this. So I think that long form media management, hundreds of hours of footage, I think that they're Avid and in my opinion, Final Cut 10, I think are currently better suited to superimpose greater value on that footage for an editor. But I do think that in Smoke, certain small projects where I want to start and finish, we will do it directly in Smoke. We're talking a promo, maybe a music video, but there are certain nuanced features to those NLEs that are there for the client-driven iterations of creativity. For effects workflow, they rule for client-driven sessions or even for an individual to iterate. So I think if they hit a critical mass and they continue to listen, they used to have edit many, many years ago.
Yeah.
So who knows if they resurrect some of those ideas and start to meld it together. I don't know what their plan is there, but I do know that they are a glimmer of hope and light at a show like this year.
Very cool. I could talk to you all day about
Thanks.
this kind of stuff, but they want to go to lunch, I think.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no. Just kidding. Okay, thank you, Evan.
My pleasure, Randy. Anytime.
This was great, and
Awesome.
That's it for us. Post TV Live from NAB, Day 3. Please visit our website throughout and see some more cool news. Take care.